Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and it's that time of the week where we take a look at the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves. Let's check them out. All right, before I jump into the first knife this week, big thanks to Thomas there behind the camera, as well as Seth, who kind of stepped in front of the camera these last couple weeks. You may have noticed it was not quite as visible here on the channel for a little bit of time, and that's because we had a kid. Got a baby C. Anderson running around, and you know what? I figured it was better for me to be home than in here making some videos. So apologize for anyone out there who was speculating on what was going to be going on, what was happening to me. Not to worry, everything is great, and now I'm back. So
conspiracy theories were fun to read.
They were kind of fun to read. Yeah, it's even I was looking there at home and going, they have no idea.
Nope.
But I was having a good time. It was great to be home with the wife and the kid. Good times.
And now they sent you back here.
And now I'm back here. They said, go to work. We're tired of you. But that's fine, because at least they got knives here. I like knives. So, how about the first one? And we're going to make some people mad right off the bat, because we have a new, quite expensive utility blade holder. Nothing is sure to raise the ire of people more than some of these. And this one is not an inexpensive guy right here. It's the Chaves Ultramar CHUB. Chaves Handy Utility Blade is what that stands for. But it's a flipper. It's not just one of the little holders. It's a full flipping knife. And as such, you got a full flipping price as well, about $210 for this guy. Reason for that is, even though you don't have a standard blade here, you've got the full style CHUB handle. You've got a couple different variations. This is the green micarta version, and you've got a titanium frame lock on the back with, of course, the signature Chaves skull pocket clip, but you can swap that out for a more subtle clip if you don't really like that big skull look. And these guys are reversible as well, so you can put these on the front side, so it'll be a little bit easier for the lefties to utilize it. The lockup is nice and solid. I mean, it's a frame lock. You've got that solid vault-like lockup going on here. Really going to be able to use that utility blade very confidently. Nothing to worry about in terms of the stability. And the access is going to be very quick. Probably even quicker than some of those like retractable blade versions out there, because you just pull it out, you can flip it open just like any other pocket knife that comes with a flipper, of course. Ball bearings in the pivot, snappy action, as you can see. It's solid. It's solid, man. Super, super solid. Prices on them, like I said, about $210 for this version, $205 for a G10 version. So a little less expensive.
A little bit. Still
a $200 utility blade holder, and I understand that a lot of folks out there will never pass go or collect $200 because that's a stupid joke. So I apologize for the stupid joke though, but I'm a dad now. I don't have to make apologies for that anymore. Anyway, on to some of the next stuff. Big week right now for WE and CIVIVI. They're actually dropping on the day this video is posting, so they're fresh out the boat, so to speak. First from WE, we've got a new version of the Roxi. This is the Roxi 3. Prices on it start at about $230. This one right here with the flamed titanium finish is about $240. In addition to that titanium construction, nice and milled on the front and the back, you've got the frame lock. You've got an over travel disc here on the back side, a la Hinderer. And you've got this very aggressive sheep's foot blade, just over 3 inches, about 3 1/8-ish, made from S35 VN steel. Nice point on it, nice high flat grind. You're gonna be able to pull off some, I like to say powerful cuts with this style of blade shape. You've got a lot of strength behind it, but the geometry is still good that you're gonna be able to really push through some tough cuts. As far as opening the knife goes, no flipper on this guy. This is a thumb hole or front flipper affair. As you folks know, front flipping has never been my forte, and I've taken 2 weeks off here, so it's even more out of my wheelhouse, as you can see. But the thumb hole works a lot better, even with that middle finger flick. For me, anyway, makes it very easy to open in that regard. All right, next up from WE, we have a more gentlemanly knife. This is the Smooth Sentinel. This version right here that comes with the marbled carbon fiber inlays on both sides is about $204, but there are G10 versions and some wood-handled versions, but the G10 starts at about $179, and they kind of bump up from there a little bit. Really nice profile here. Blade length itself, just under 3 inches, 20 CV steel. Versatile drop point with a full flat grind. I mean, I like everything about that blade. It's just going to be a great slicer because it's not too thick, and it's got a shape that's going to kind of pull most duties you're going to need to in just a general use EDC knife. Certainly looks classy with the titanium and then the marbled carbon fiber here especially. Deep carry pocket clip, reversible in this case, so either side is going to be able to work well. Lockup is with the frame lock there. A little bit susceptible to pressure from the backside of the inlay there when you go to unlock it. So just be kind of real cognizant of that when you go to close it. Make sure you're not putting pressure there. It's kind of easy to do, but you'll have to kind of get used to that to carry this knife. It's a rather beautiful looking knife. There's enough to hold on to, about a 3.5 finger grip for me, and very classy to boot. All right, next up we've got CIVIVI, of course the budget-minded or more budget-minded sister brand to WE, with a new multi-tool. This is the Crit, and it comes in about $72.50 right now. And you've got 2 blades, or 2 implements I should say. You've got a Nitro V blade, which is about 3 1/8 inch long. Very similar profile, but a bit narrower to that we just looked at, and a lot of the same characteristics. Nice versatile shape, nice and thin, full flat grind. You've got a stone-washed finish, which is going to look good as you use it because scratches will kind of blend into that a little bit. Nice thin edge, which WE and CIVIVI does very consistently and very well. You've got Jade G10 on this one, but there's micarta and black G10, green micarta and black G10 available too. Liner lock to hold it closed, and then on the opposite side, you've got a multi-tool arm, a multi-tool implement, and yes, it does have a bottle opener, so it is officially a multi-tool. There we go. Right there at the base, so you can pop open your favorite brew. Some hex wrench cutouts here, 4 sizes essentially, right in the middle of the arm. You've got a flathead screwdriver here at the tip. It's a little bit on the blunt side, but it still should work for most things. You can do a little bit of prying with it. Within reason, of course, you still have to worry about the liner lock and the pivot here being the weak link in a kind of pry scenario. And I think my favorite part, we also do have a inches and centimeters ruler on the spine, but my favorite part is this little hook blade here at the end. And whether you want to call that a strap cutter or seatbelt cutter or even just a package opener, I really dig that. Very easily, you're going to be able to do some pull cuts with that while keeping things safe. You're not going to poke into something as you're using that, especially if you're using it in sort of a quote-unquote rescue scenario. Really cool to see that. I always love kind of some extra little edges on some things like that. Now it's not super thin because you do have 2 layers, but the carry system is nicely considered. You've got that wire deep carry pocket clip. Not a whole lot is going to stick up above, and it is reversible as well. It's not a 4-position clip, but you can rotate it kind of to the opposite end on the opposite side and carry it that way if you wish. And let's see, I didn't try doing the actual front flipping. Yeah, see, I'm way out of practice, you guys. I'm sorry.
Rusty C. Anderson.
David C. The C stands for Rusty?
Sure.
Whatever. It's pretty cool, and I really dig that second implement on there. I mean, the Nessmuck fanatic in me, though, really wants to see them do like a full-on moose pattern where you have a clip point blade and a spear point on the other side. I'd really dig that. But I really dig it anyway, even without that. Really cool. Next knife, speaking of Nessmuck, for example, this is not a Nessmuck-inspired blade, but there is kind of a historic, or at least I pick up on some historic vibes with the blade shape of this, which is the Relic. Comes in about $72. Nitro V blade, 3.5 inches-ish long. And I get some broken back sax vibes from this clip point shape here. Very aggressive on the clip right there, but I really like it. You are fairly thin. You have an almost full height flat grind. You've got that nice thin edge again. You've got that Nitro V steel again, which is an excellent choice in this price range. this is going to be a wicked slicer, and you've got some really aggressive piercing capabilities. I mean, that tip is super fine as it gets out there. Moving back to the handles here, you've got kind of pretty standard CIVIVI fare. You've got a liner lock, you've got ball bearings in the pivot, and you've got G10 scales. This, of course, is the red, or they're calling it burgundy, but you can also get some other colors of G10. You can also get some micartas. You can also get some Damascus blades paired up with some of the handle materials as well. One of the micarta blade, or micarta handles, in fact, if that's your thing. But I always like the kind of red and black look. We've seen them do this on a couple of their other knives. I really like that. Back side of the handle has some interesting things as well. Oh, I forgot one of the other CIVIVI standard fare deep carry pocket clip, but in this case, it is reversible. They're not always on all of their models. Back of the handle's kind of interesting. I see a little bit of kind of wee knife banter vibes here on the back end. Maybe they're cribbing a little bit from that particular model. But the bigger surprise, we've actually got a pair of tweezers in the back side of the handle there. A bit bigger, I should say, than your standard Swiss Army knife tweezers. The ends look a little bit rounded off. It does seem like they're gripping okay, but kind of a nice little bit of added functionality right there. And stays right out of the way. And in fact, I hadn't read the description on the website, and I hadn't looked too closely at it yet. I completely missed it at first. But then it's like, oh, what's that silver thing? Okay, that makes sense. Really cool knife. Nice, large enough size. You're going to be able to do, or you're going to be able to feel like you can take on some bigger chores, and you've got that great slicey blade to back that up. All right, one more CIVIVI that's dropping today. We've got some less fancy versions of the Brad Zinker designed Bo. You previously could get this with some shred carbon fiber with red and blue in it for a little bit more money. I want to say those were about 80 bucks. But you can get this purple G10. Everyone loves purple right now. Amongst a few other G10s and micartas. This guy right here starts about 66 bucks, just under that. Really great little kind of executive styled knife, even though the materials don't necessarily scream high end in this particular case. They're a little more playful. Blade, just under 3 inches. Nitro V steel again, love that. Full flat grind. I mean, same thing I said about that Smooth Sentinel there at the front. In fact, these knives are quite similar. The Bo is a little bit smaller, I grant you, but not too far off in the vibes or the utility between these two knives. Handles are quite nicely done. About a 3.5 finger grip for me right behind the flipper tab. It feels a little bit more like a 3-finger grip because of the abrupt end of the handle. My half finger that would be there kind of slides off the back. Not too bad though. Bit of a contour to the handle. Deep carry pocket clip, not reversible in this case, but ball bearings in the pivot. Nice flipping action. Really folds up nicely into that closed position. Just a hint of blade showing, very unobtrusive in the pocket, and a pretty useful design to boot. Next up, we've got a new version of the design people are most likely familiar with from Brad Zinker, and that is the Boker Plus Urban Trapper. New version here with a Damascus blade as opposed to the VG10 that you would get on some of the standard versions, and the price on it, fairly reasonable, coming in about $112 for this guy. Now, I'm not exactly sure what metals they're using in their Damascus formulation here. It is a 110 layer Damascus, as they're saying here. Not that we've ever heard anything really bad about Boker's Damascus. I usually appreciate knowing what's actually being used just for my own edification. But it certainly looks very good, and I've got no reason to think it's not going to perform pretty well too. And this is a great looking version of this knife. I have the VG10 version of this exact knife. I love it. The Cocobolo handles look great. Just makes for a great gentleman's or executive knife. You've got your deep carry pocket clip there. Very distinctive Zinker styled clip. Right side tip up only. Titanium liners, not a stainless steel liner. Folds up nicely as well. I mean, you can see a bit of that family resemblance with the CIVIVI we just looked at when you hold them both up in that closed position. I mean, Zinker just has one of those distinctive styles with his smaller pen knives. Even though you have a longer blade here, 3.5 inches, they're more or they feel more in the vein of like a penknife versus like a big honkin' tactical knife. Love these guys, and this version looks fantastic. So speaking of trapper style knives, we've got the 2021 Tony Bose case knife in, which this year is the HT Trapper, a 2-bladed trapper. Very premium price on these, coming in about $567. And the precision on these compared to the more affordable case knives is just out of the ballpark. It is fantastically made. Everything feels darn near custom levels of perfection. 154 cm on the blades here, so not necessarily the best bargain on steel for the price point, but it is a step up from what they typically use on the more affordable stuff. Really cool blade shapes here. You've got the standard clip point blade, which the shapes are just a little bit different than most of their actual standard clip point blades. Has a really cool look, and then the Skinner blade profile also just a little bit different. Really like it. Really cool lines, excellent sharp edges. Everything feels chef's kiss. Very, very nicely done here. The snap, very nice, as you can hear. Everything's perfectly flush on the backside when it's open and closed. The peach seed jigged chestnut bone. Again, one more chef's kiss. Gotta love that. Absolutely fantastic production piece. And it comes with, do have to show it, nice little zipper case. Suede on the outside and then padded on the inside as well. Love it. Sorry for the audio.
That's a really loud zipper.
It's a really loud zipper. Too rich for my blood, though, unfortunately. That is quite the expensive knife. So we have a few less expensive case knives here, such as not the full-fat Tony Bose limited custom editions, or whatever you want to call them, but another Tony Bose knife here, the Smooth Black Sycamore Swayback, coming in at about $80 right now. But it's a nice smaller carry piece. Closed length is about 3.2, and the open blade length is just over 2¼ inches. And you've got their True Sharp stainless, which is a 420 stainless steel, of course, with that high polished finish as well. Swayback handles, of course, feel really great on the reverse hold because of the way that handle nestles into the palm. And with this Wharncliffe blade there, going to be really nice for certain whittling or carving tasks in that sort of grip especially. Or just open up your boxes day to day. Blade's going to work really well for that too. And then I am a sucker for this next knife. This is a Sowbelly, coming in about $64 with the yellow synthetic handles. I know it's not a high-end handle material, but I've just always been a sucker for this style of handle. I dig it. It feels old school and it feels honest in a way. And this particular knife is one of the knives that Case makes with their carbon steel blades as opposed to the stainless steel. I really like that as well. Again, I like kind of the old school vibes that gives you. And the Sowbelly, of course, refers to the shape of the handle in this case, but this is basically a Stockman style knife, which is one of my favorite slip joint patterns to begin with as well. Really nice clip point shape here, a little bit more snaky than some of the clip points out there. I like that. Nice, tall sheep's foot blade, and of course you've got the spay blade here as well. A little bit of a stonewash finish. You get that on their on their carbon steel blades as well. I just really dig it. Made in the USA, the quality is there, especially when you consider you're only paying about $64 for that bad boy. All right, next up we've got a fixed blade, a new version of the Woodsman knife from Casstrom. Flip it around because they put their logo on the wrong side of the blade. This knife comes in about $147, and the differentiator here is you've got a bog oak handle construction. Bog oak, of course, very old reclaimed material that looks really good. Now these knives are made in Sweden, but the designer of this knife is actually from England. This is, let me get his name right, Roger Harrington, and it's essentially just a perfect little small bushcraft knife. Blade length, about 3.5 inches, Scandi ground, and you've got, and I realize I've been saying this wrong for the longest time, you've got Sleipner steel here, which think of it like an improved version of D2 that is significantly more tough than D2, which especially when you're dealing with something like a Scandi grind where the edge itself is a bit more acute, that extra toughness is going to pay dividends in the edge stability on this guy right here. With a length like that and a full-sized handle that is very comfortably done, you've got a lot of control over this blade. Really good for the kind of bushcrafty carving tasks that you're going to need, but it's thick enough that you could kind of consider this to be kind of a small survival knife as well, about 0.16 on the thickness there. So not quite 5/32, but a little bit bigger than an 1/8 as well. Really finely finished. I really like the horizontal grain on here. The spine feels crisp enough. You should be able to throw sparks from a ferrocerium rod or a fire steel. Everything you want in a bushcraft knife, quite honestly, including the sheath, which is leather, really nicely done. Just a simple pouch style, but simple, but done very well. Very excellent welted edge, finely finished, looks great. All right, next up, even though it's a couple days past Halloween, these guys are still pretty awesome. The Mummert Knives titanium credit card style knife, which is a hunk of titanium, essentially, 85 bucks in this case. You've got the mummy there on the front and a sarcophagus there on the back. Really cool designs to it. And right here along these two edges, you've got essentially a carbidized edge. You can see on the back there that process that gives this titanium a little bit of edge holding. Normal titanium by itself is not going to hold an edge super well. But these guys are pretty cool as a backup knife, or even if you're going into an area where you might be a little nervous carrying a knife for one reason or another, nice surreptitious way to actually have a sharp edge on you when you need it. Standard versions of these are about 75 bucks, but they don't look this cool. And I will say though, we do have more of these on the shelves right now, but these aren't going to be an evergreen item. Once these are gone, they are going to be gone. So if you think it looks pretty cool, don't wait too long to pick one of those up.
Ain't gonna last as long as a mummy would.
Mummies last a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
They stay on the shelf a long time. Yeah. This mummy won't.
I want to go home again.
They won't let you.
Okay, next up then, we have a multi-tool because it has a bottle opener in addition to one other function. This is from MetonBoss. This is their AR-15 magazine bottle opener / pry bar. You can see you do have the bottle opener functionality there, and you've got a little hint of a pry bar there at the bottom as well. You're not going to be getting real deep into something to get some leverage on it, but you've got a little bit there. It's going to work a little bit as a scraper as well. Even though it's not a crisp edge, it's going to work. Really nice flamed titanium finish going on. Should we call that flamed? It's more of a rainbow anodization going on. Looks cool. Made in the US on these guys. Price is about $130, so it's not cheap for sure. One other little function there, which I don't even think we have listed on the website, but it looks like you got a standard bit driver there on the end as well. Thomas, do you have a bit?
Not on me.
Not on me. He doesn't have his skeletal anymore either. I don't know what's happening to our friend over there. But it's going to work pretty well, I think. Kind of neat. All right, last but not least, we've got some new Flytanium scales for the standard sized Bugout. We've got both a standard basket weave as well as a shred carbon fiber, about 69 bucks, and the mini Osborne with a shred carbon fiber here. This one comes in about $74 right now. Apologies for them still being in the packaging, but we didn't want to open these up. But really cool, really nice upgrades to those particular knives. Not too unaffordably priced either in the grand scheme of things. So that's all the time that we've got today to show you some new knives. If you want to purchase one of these knives yourself, there will be links in the description as always to take you over to KnifeCenter.com. And make sure you sign up for our Knife Rewards program, because if you're gonna buy one of these knives, you might as well earn some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center, signing off. See you next time.